Andrew McGahan for SevereMMA. You're probably one of our most consistent interviews at this stage, Luke. Anywhere we go, you seem to be there.
I seem to be everywhere. I'm trying to get about. I've just been out in the States, and before that we were in Berlin, and before that we were, in London. I've been getting about.
Exactly. What's the reaction been from the Dublin fans? I know you didn't think you'd be the most popular man in Ireland.
I definitely didn't think I was going to be the most popular man. I actually tweeted saying Dublin's favourite MMA fighter is coming to Ireland as a bit of a joke, and it turns out people actually quite like me here. I've had a really good reaction so far. It could all change. I actually did a seminar last night at SPG. Had 60 really nice, talented kids come down and work with me, Dan Hardy, Jimmy Manuel, and Eddie Gordon. So all four of us were doing some work with them. Great reception. They all took pictures with me and took my signature. And I was thinking, Conor doesn't like me, right? I was thinking, you can't tweet about this. Surely your gym won't like it. But yeah, they were great, so it was good.
What was their responses when you said, Conor doesn't like me? We shouldn't be talking together. We shouldn't be seen together.
They were like, I'm not Conor, so it's all right. They were nice. All of them were nice kids, really, and they really listened, and they all asked my advice on a lot of things and asked me questions about technique, and it was great. But there was a few guys there that. They looked like they had Conor McGregor's haircut. They moved a little bit like him. They looked like they were trying to imitate him a little bit. So he's definitely had a large impression on that gym, which is great. It's his gym.
Such a large-scale event happening this weekend. The return to the UFC in Dublin. What are you going to make of it? Do you think it's going to be on par with one of the big US events in terms of noise, in terms of crowd, and anticipation for it? I
mean, 100%. Ireland's been starving for the UFC for the last 5 years. Really, really passionate fans here. And whenever the UFC comes back to a market like that, obviously from England, London, they have 2 events in England a year now. So we're still starving for it. But 5 years is a long time to be away from such a passionate fight nation. So I think that the reaction's already been told. We already know it's going to be big because the tickets sold out in a couple of minutes. They put more tickets on sale and they sold out in 30 seconds. The weigh-ins is 4,000 people and it's sold out. It's going to be mad. It's going to be a crazy environment. And the US events, out of all of the events, the US events are actually the ones that aren't that crazy. Like I said, I was just at Machida Weidman, in Vegas, in National Fight Week for the middleweight title of the world, and it wasn't that crazy. It just wasn't. The atmosphere wasn't that crazy because they get UFC every week. They have so much of it. When they come to different markets, I was in Abu Dhabi and it was crazy. I was, in London it was crazy. When they come to markets like this, the fans react to it so much better. So I think it's going to be a loud crowd.
You also had a bit of a run-in on Twitter with Wanderlei Silva. You didn't get a reply though. Is that a fight that you're really gunning for at the minute?
I did get a reply.
Oh, did you?
I got a reply this morning on Instagram. I'm definitely gunning for it. I'm going after it. I'm going after it hard, and I think it makes sense. People say, "Oh, it doesn't make sense." Of course, it makes sense. I'm trying to make my way up, and he's just lingering around. He's not really doing much, and there's no one for him to fight right now. He's calling out Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold doesn't want to fight him. He doesn't need to fight him. I want to fight him. I want the fight. Obviously, Chow can't fight him. I'm the perfect person to step in his place and take the fight, and I think it's a big thing for Europe if they bring the Wanderlei over to Europe, and that's what they need to do. They need to will the old guy out and use him and get the fans interested. And he has a big fan attraction, but he's not doing anything for the UFC now. He's never going to win a world title again. He's never going to fight. Whereas I could and I will. So we need to use Wanderlei to make people like me look impressive, win some fights, and get people interested.
Do you think you'd retire him?
100%. I think I'm an absolute nightmare for it. I'm a young guy, 6'6", tricky, long, and he's Wanderlei. He's going to do the same thing he always does, and it's very similar to Diego Brandao versus Conor McGregor. The stylistic wise, long guy who moves around and throws a lot of strikes against a guy who's just trying to walk you down and throw shots. The guy who moves around is going to win.
And finally on that, how do you see the main event going this weekend?
Exactly like I just said. I think Conor wins. I think he uses his footwork, moves very, very well. Diego gets tired and he takes him apart pretty impressively. The other way, Diego catches him in the first round and knocks him out. I think it's a very close fight, closer than people are giving it credit for, especially in Ireland. People aren't giving Diego Brandao much credit. Everyone I've spoken to thinks Conor's going to win. I think Conor's going to win, but I think it's going to be a much closer affair than most people think.
Excellent, Luke. We appreciate the time. Hope you enjoyed Dublin.
Cheers. Thank you.